Never ignore warnings from creatures with glowing red eyes, especially when 46 people die exactly 13 months later. This is the story of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where something impossible watched from the shadows for over a year. Something that might have been trying to save lives. Today we're diving deep into the Mothman prophecy. And the most haunting question of all, did this creature actually try to warn an entire town about disaster? Make sure you hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss what happens next. Picture this. November 15th, 1966. A cold Tuesday night in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Roger and Linda Scarberry are out on a double date with their friends Steve and Mary Mallette. They're driving through the old TNT area, where the government used to make bombs during World War II. Just abandoned buildings and empty roads now. The perfect place for young couples to spend time together away from prying eyes. But tonight, something is different. As their headlights cut through the darkness, they see something that shouldn't exist. Standing by the side of the road is a massive creature. 7 feet tall, humanoid, but wrong in every possible way. Its eyes glow like red-hot coals in the darkness, and spread wide behind it are wings. Not bird wings, something else entirely, something that belongs in nightmares. Roger slams on the gas pedal. The car lurches forward, speeding away from whatever they just saw. But as they look back through the rear window, their blood turns to ice. The thing is following them, not running, flying, its wings barely moving as it glides effortlessly above the car, keeping pace even as they hit 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. The red eyes never blink, never look away. They race back into town, hearts pounding, minds struggling to process what they've just experienced. At the sheriff's office, they tell their story. The deputy listens with growing concern, not because he thinks they're lying, but because they're not the first ones to report something like this. The local newspaper, the Point Pleasant Register, runs their story the very next day. The headline reads, "Couples see man-sized bird creature something." The reporter calls it the Mothman. The name sticks. Within days, the entire town is buzzing with talk of the creature. Some people laugh it off as a hoax or mass hysteria. Others aren't so sure, because the sightings don't stop. They multiply. Over the next 13 months, more than 100 people in Point Pleasant and the surrounding areas report encounters with the Mothman. Each description is remarkably consistent. A humanoid figure between 6 and 7 feet tall, massive wings spanning 10 to 15 feet. And those eyes. Always those glowing red eyes that seem to burn right through your soul. Construction worker Newell Partridge is working late one evening when he sees the creature perched on a nearby power line. The thing just watches him, completely silent, completely still. When Newell moves, the red eyes track his movement. When he calls out to it, the creature spreads its wings and disappears into the night sky without making a sound. A young woman named Linda sees it standing in her backyard, just outside her bedroom window. She lies frozen in bed, watching those red orbs stare back at her through the glass. For what feels like hours, neither moves. Then suddenly, it's gone, vanished, as if it was never there at all. But here's where things get really strange. People start reporting other weird phenomena around the same time as the Mothman sightings. Strange lights in the sky, electronic equipment malfunctioning for no reason, phone calls where nobody speaks, just an eerie humming sound, animals acting aggressively or disappearing entirely. It's like the whole area around Point Pleasant has become a magnet for the unexplained. The media attention grows. Reporters from newspapers and television stations start showing up in Point Pleasant, all wanting to get the story of this mysterious creature. The town becomes divided. Some residents embrace the attention and the tourism dollars it brings. Others just want their quiet lives back. But the Mothman doesn't care about any of that. It keeps appearing, always watching, always silent, never attacking anyone, never causing direct harm, just observing with those haunting red eyes, as if it's waiting for something. Then comes December 15th, 1967. Rush hour on a Friday evening. The Silver Bridge, a suspension bridge that connects Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Gallipolis, Ohio, is packed with commuters heading home for the weekend. It's been a reliable crossing for nearly 40 years, carrying thousands of cars safely across the Ohio River. At exactly 5:04 p.m., the impossible happens. A single piece of metal, an eye bar in the North Tower, develops a tiny crack. The crack spreads in seconds. The massive structure, designed to carry the weight of hundreds of vehicles, suddenly can't support itself. Steel cables snap like rubber bands. The bridge deck tilts sideways, then collapses entirely into the icy river below. 37 vehicles plummet into the Ohio River. 46 people die in the frigid water. It's one of the worst bridge disasters in American history. An entire community is shattered in less than a minute. And here's the thing that still haunts people today. After the Silver Bridge collapse, the Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant completely stop. Not gradually, not slowly fading away. They end immediately, as if whatever the creature was waiting for had finally happened. Investigators later determine that the bridge collapsed due to a stress fracture in a single eye bar, a crucial structural component that had been slowly weakening for years. The metal was 40 years old and had been subjected to far more weight and stress than it was designed to handle. It was a tragedy waiting to happen, but nobody knew it at the time. So what was the Mothman? Some people believe it was just mass hysteria, a shared delusion brought on by stress and suggestion. Others think it might have been a misidentified bird, maybe a sandhill crane that had wandered far from its normal habitat. The glowing eyes could have been caused by car headlights reflecting off the creature's retinas. But then there are those who believe something else entirely. They think the Mothman was some kind of harbinger, a supernatural entity that appears when disaster is about to strike. They point to the timing. 13 months of sightings followed immediately by a devastating tragedy. Then, complete silence. Was the Mothman trying to warn the people of Point Pleasant about what was coming? Was it desperately attempting to communicate something that humans couldn't understand? Those red eyes that witnesses described as hypnotic and otherworldly. Were they trying to show people images of the future? Visions of the bridge collapse that nobody could interpret. Consider this. Many of the Mothman witnesses reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread during their encounters. Not fear of the creature itself, but a deep, inexplicable anxiety about something terrible that was going to happen. Something they couldn't name or identify, but that filled them with a bone-deep certainty that danger was coming. What if the Mothman wasn't a monster at all? What if it was something trying to save lives? Something that could see the future, but couldn't change it. Only try to warn us in the only way it knew how. The truth is, we'll probably never know for sure what the people of Point Pleasant saw during those 13 months in the 1960s. Was it a creature from another dimension? A time traveler trying to prevent disaster? A government experiment gone wrong? Or just a very large bird that happened to appear at the worst possible time? But here's what we do know. 46 people died when the Silver Bridge collapsed. Families were destroyed. A community was forever changed. And somewhere in the darkness of that December evening, as rescue workers pulled bodies from the Ohio River, the Mothman disappeared back into whatever realm it came from. The legend lives on today. Point Pleasant has embraced its cryptid celebrity, erecting a 12-foot statue of the Mothman in the town center, and hosting an annual festival that draws thousands of visitors. But for those who lived through those 13 months of terror and wonder, it's not about tourism or fame. It's about the nagging question that will never be fully answered. Was the Mothman trying to save us all along? Subscribe if you want to explore more mysteries that challenge everything we think we know about reality.